Talk to him.
Classic codes, I ain't taking it slow. Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that mode. Whether the winters were left in the cold.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. We here, man. We live, another one. I'm in a chill mood today. We'll see if it stay that way. We got a good show today. We got a real good show today. Let me pull up, let y'all know what the agenda is right quick. Hold on, let me get my mode real quick, man. Let me come to the ring. Yeah, let me come to the ring, man.
Standing at 6'2", 190 pounds. I give you, boy, I'm made different. I work too hard. Ain't no way I ain't getting paid different. This from the dirt, this from the mud. You ain't slave with me. This was strictly for my homies that was brave with me. You can't come in with me now if you ain't came with me. Skull looking at you side eye if you ain't with real life. I seen a couple people try and it ain't in pretty. I only keep the people around that stood on 10 with me. And if they start to stand on 9, that's where it end with me. It can end quickly. In the way I level up, I make them spin differently. I should start a foundation. They be make-a-wishing me. I got these hoes in the frenzy. They can't seem to get to me. Babe, I done mastered discipline. It take more than booty cheeks.
All right, let's get it going, man. Let's get it going. All right, so we got a good show today, man. We got the code language going. Code language today is going to be on you versus y'all. I'm excited to talk about that one. It's a concept I've had conversations about before. Yeah, it's going to be a good one to talk about, have some fun with that. And then we got the reaction video. $500 dates are the new standard. Where is it? Where is that happening? What we doing? What's going on? What in the simp is going on? But yeah, we'll get into that. We'll see what that's talking about. I haven't watched that video, so that'll be an authentic reaction. And then we got the question of the day. Is male honesty the new misogyny? So that'll be something that I get to touch on as well. I touched on it a little bit yesterday in the live video, but today we're going to do a deep dive on the question of the day. Is male honesty the new misogyny? So we're going to get into that as well. So I'm going to start off with the code language conversation. Let me pull that up for y'all. And as everybody fall in, drop a 333. Let me know you with me. So the code language, you versus y'all. I mean, wet my whistle, man. You versus y'all. This a good one. When I say you versus y'all, if you guys notice in a lot of these panels and a lot of these conversations on any of the podcast panels, even in person, you know, group conversations or whatever the case may be, it's a lot of situations where it's hard to make a point or to gain ground in the conversation or to really build off of your side of the argument, not argument as in, you know, an aggressive conversation, but just your side of the spectrum in regards to whatever it is that you're talking about. Oftentimes it gets hard to gain ground and make progress in conversations because you constantly have people that feel the need to defend themselves by way of exclusion. Let me explain. So if you're having a conversation with a group of men and a group of women, it's a mixed group, few guys, few ladies, and y'all talking about things that men and women may differ on. One of the men goes to make a point and says, well, that's kind of the difference between men and women because women and then da-da-da-da-da, right? And then you have one of the women that's involved in the group that has to stop him and say, don't say women because I don't do that. I'm not like that. And that's what this code language is about more so when I say you versus y'all. I am a man. I'm a man with a certain set of morals and principles and a certain code that I live by. There are many other men that have different morals, different principles, and different codes that they live by. But as a populace, we are still men. There are going to be generalizations about all men that are applicable, or the vast majority of men that are applicable. There are going to be generalizations that are folk tales or a farce, for lack of a better term. That's going to happen. There's nothing wrong with making an accurate generalization. For example, like we have a negative connotation on stereotypes, right? We have a negative connotation on stereotypes. So if somebody says black people like chicken, most black people I know, I've been black my whole life. Most black people I know love chicken. The vast majority. And when I used to eat animals, I love chicken too. It's an accurate stereotype, but we still get mad even though it's true. And by me being the black person in the room who no longer eats chicken, should I stop and hold up somebody that's making a point and tell them, well, don't say black people like it's all of us because I don't eat chicken. And this is what I mean when I say you versus y'all. There's no need to exclude yourself from the population that you are a member of for the sake of defense in a conversation. Don't y'all hate when y'all trying to make a point and you're making an accurate generalization that applies to most people, and somebody got to stop in the middle of the conversation to let you know they're the exception to the rule? And half the time they be lying. Well, I'm not like that. You just like that. This should apply to you too. You know? So yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Chat, what up, man? Drop a 333 if you with me, man. Shout out. But yeah, so this code language is kind of unique because it's more so like it's just an idea. I think that if people stop feeling the need to exclude themselves, they could be a little bit more influential and instrumental. Deacon, what up? They could be a little bit more influential and instrumental in helping the people who this shit actually apply to, right? So let me bring it full circle. If a woman says to me personally, I'm not a baby daddy, right? But if a woman says to me personally, black men that are baby daddies, something, and she's trying to make a point that is statistically true. I don't have one to give y'all, but let's say it's statistically a true point that she's making, right? Does it benefit the conversation any for me to stop her and point out to her that I'm not a baby daddy? Just because she said black men and then spoke about baby daddies, does it benefit the conversation at all for me to stop her in her discussion of the y'all to point out the me? You feel me? Like some conversations are personal. He said, no, it doesn't. Shout out Deacon, man. Got a 333 for me. He said, no, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. So like, I think sometimes we get the two conflated. Sometimes it's a really personal conversation and we are talking about the you or the me, right? It's a personal interaction. And that in those situations, that's where it should stay. If that's what we're doing. But if it's a general conversation and the statements that are being made are true on a broad level, why diminish the points being made all the way back down to the fact that it doesn't apply to you on a personal level? And then sometimes let's go into this nuance of the conversation, the you versus y'all. What about the times when you're talking about the y'all that is uncomfortable and it applies to the people that are in the conversation? What about those times? What about when we're talking about black obesity and how it needs to be, resolved in our communities nationwide? Because in this part of the world, our whole country is technically fat. Statistically speaking, we're like the fattest country. But nevertheless, if we having a conversation about that, but there happens to be a couple of big people in the room, right? Sometimes people don't want to talk about the y'all when it applies to them. I think with the classic codes, the mission is for me to come on my platform, be honest every day, have interactions and absorb other perspectives as well, agree to disagree and be an example of how to agree to disagree at a high level, and everybody end up learning from each other. And that through all of this learning, people kind of have 3 or 4 other perspectives outside of their own on all these different topics, and we become more well-rounded in conversation, more well-rounded as far as being social with each other. It's a real mission, and we're gonna take the long way around and get it done. But the you versus y'all topic, I think is so nuanced, because what about when we gotta have these conversations, because we've all been in group settings, a kickback, and this, that, and the third. It's all different type of people in the room. If we start having a conversation about a social topic, some of the shit we touch on may apply to some people in the room. If somebody's making a point, and to drive home their point, they bring home fatherlessness in the households, and it's like 2 or 3 people in the room that grew up without their dad. See what I'm saying? Now it's like, well, can we still have this real conversation? Because some of the people in here are a part of the y'all. Some of the people in here are a part of the stat. We have to be able to still have these conversations, people. Like, one man or one woman's individual discomfort can't stop us from having necessary conversations. It just is what it is. When I was big as hell, I may not have appreciated fat jokes the same. But being big is optional for the vast majority of people that's big. So do something about it. Right? Those are the conversations I'm here to have. I'm not really here to like make people feel comfortable in their own skin. I'd rather have a platform that's more about like entertainment, honesty, and pushing people to live out their highest potential. I think everybody deserves a prime. I'm gonna put that on some of my next merch. Make sure y'all shop at the theclassiccodes.com. Go get y'all some merch. Go get that code language oversized tee with the drop shoulder. Make sure y'all go get that. Great for working out, great for dressing in fashion, however you want to get to it. But yeah, man, you versus y'all. And I can admit, I used to be a you person, heavy on the you. Like, somebody will bring up something, and then immediately I'll put myself in it. Well, shit, I feel like, somebody could bring up something about 2 people playing basketball, and I'll be like, I'll bust both their ass. This shit don't need, what they talking about ain't got nothing to do with me. I just put me in it. And so that's why this conversation is worthy of having. Deacon, what you think about this, dog? But yeah, I think that it's oh shit, he already had something drew up for me. Look at that. I asked what he thought. He already had a paragraph for me. I think we can no longer distinguish between who is mature and who isn't. I think the mile marker that signified adulthood has been erased. There are no rites of passage to man or womanhood. Ooh. Shit. That's heavy. Let's read that again. I think we can no longer distinguish between who is mature and who isn't. I think the mile markers that signified adulthood has been erased. There are no rites of passage to man or womanhood. That's heavy, dog. I'm trying to think about whether or not this is true. You just brought up something that I hadn't put my mind on this before. I'm trying to think in real time. Do I feel like I agree with this or not? I feel like if you look at it through a social media lens, you're not too far off base. Because if you go to TikTok, the way you see grown folks acting a fool, like, who are the kids, And then you got youngins on there giving out real advice that could make you a millionaire. So it's like, I think it comes down to, because we're in the age of information, I think it comes down to personality type. If you the type of person that's ambitious and like mission based, and you're driven, so you're not lazy, because there's a lot of people who have ambition but they lazy, so we call them dreamers. They just be sitting around thinking about what they want to pop off. So like, If you're an ambitious person and you have a certain set of characteristics in the age of information, it's up there for you. Like, you really gonna thrive. And you can, if you're young and you coming up in this time period, you can thrive earlier than people typically were able to thrive in the old way of things going on. So like, imagine if you were born 10 years ago, the way you're gonna be able to capitalize on AI versus like a 55-year-old, the way you acclimate into it and everything, totally different speed. You could be a millionaire by the time you're 23. What else you got? He says, so we're inevitably entertaining conversations with people who aren't mature enough to think objectively. Yes, sir. That's happening all over the internet. And objectivity comes through experience with life and taking responsibility. Yup. You cooking with hot grease, grapeseed oil, avocado oil. Yeah. You cooking with hot grease. Sweet potato fries, for sure. You talking today, Deacon. You on one today. For sure. I agree with that one. I agree with that part of my whole heart. We're inevitably entertaining conversations with people who aren't mature enough to think objectively. Yeah, I think that's why conversations about religion go left all the time. I think that's why conversations about certain athletes go left all the time. I think that's why conversations about lifestyle go left a lot. And when I say lifestyle, I'm not talking about sexual orientation, because I believe in nature. Just for the record, I believe in nature. I believe whatever's natural is what we should be doing. So y'all take that for what it is. But I'm talking about, when I say lifestyle, I'm talking about, in America, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for you to be a modest person. If you're a modest, and I don't mean lazy, and it's not a fine line. It's a clear line between being modest and being lazy. When I say modest, I mean there's a guy who cool with driving the bus. He cool with his yearly raise. He lives inside of his means and he's chilling. Dude is modest. There's a woman who works a certain type of job and she cool with her company and she's all right with her scalability and she's just chilling. She don't care about designer stuff. She doesn't even carry a purse, doesn't wear makeup. She's a simple lady. Those modest people, they gonna be happy. They're gonna have happiness. You go out into the country and you see these little couples that been together 35 years and just living off their land and kind of just living a simple Southern comfortable life. They don't care about the same superficial nonsense as y'all. Those people are happy. Some of the happiest people I've ever encountered in my life lived in the poorest countries. They didn't have nothing. It was just, they were so joyful because they cared about stuff that actually mattered. A lot of conversations, Deacon said, a lot of conversations go left because a lot of people haven't really gained enough life experience to even understand what's really important. We're a nation of teenagers in adult bodies. I agree. There was a psychological study that was done. I need to find the source too. I wish I could just spit the sources, off the top of my head, but it's like there was a study done saying that most adults in America don't mature past high school. I believe that. Because, not to be disrespectful to, people who have had conversations with me, but there are times when I have conversations with people and when we get past a certain depth, I start questioning their intellect. Not to them, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, is it really that I'm not, saying something that can compute to this person, or is this person just not that bright? You got some people who elevators don't go all the way to the penthouse. But I blame the public school system. Look at the public school system. Look at the curriculum. I'm not even proud of this, but I'll tell y'all the truth. I'm not even proud of this, but it's true. I slept through pretty much all of high school and most of college. I could literally tell y'all the courses in college that I stayed awake for. Yep. I slept through pretty much all of high school and most of college, and I got good grades. So that lets you know how weak the curriculum is. I got good grades. I was an athlete, so I had to keep my GPA up, and I had to score a certain level on the ACT to have my clearinghouse so I could play college ball. So like it wasn't like I was a dummy. I just knew that school was for dummies at a young age. Like I'm sitting in math class, I watch them show us the formula once. I'm like, okay, I'll just write down the formula. And then it's just like when I take the test, just input the numbers into the formula and you get the answer. It's not, I don't need you to show me 5 different ways. And I'll just go to sleep. I remember being in first grade, not even first grade. I think it was kindergarten. This was when I was in the city. I was living in the inner city, but I went to private school at this time, Catholic school actually. And they had us coloring an apple inside the lines. Solar Thoughts, what up? Said facts. What's going on with you? 333. I hope y'all feeling good. But I remember being in kindergarten and they had us coloring an apple. And I asked my teacher, Miss Novi, at St. Catherine, St. Lucie. I asked my teacher, Miss Novi, I said, hey, I said, how is coloring this apple gonna help me make money when I get older? She looked so shocked that I asked her that as a kindergartner. You should have heard how she spoke to my mother and my father at the parent-teacher meetings. Just raved about me. All because I just had sense. Like, fuck, we ain't here coloring apples for. You can start teaching me math. I'm ready. We ain't here coloring apples. Talking about, she gave me some answer about motor skills. We in kindergarten. Everybody in here walking. Everybody in here putting their own pants on, hopefully. Everybody in here know how to tie their shoes, hopefully, by this point. Or am I just super advanced? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I was feeling in kindergarten. So it's like, yeah, I can agree with you, Deacon, when you say like we got a world full of teenagers in adult bodies. Because when you start having conversation and then get past a certain depth, you really do start feeling like, damn, like, okay, I really can't talk to this person beyond a certain point. There's a demark, an intellectual demark. And it's not even because you think they're wrong. It's just sometimes when you have a conversation and you're actually having conversation to understand, you're listening to what they're saying. You can tell them what parts of what they're saying you agree with and what parts you disagree with and why. And then you can explain your position on it. When they respond to you, it's not the same. They can't really comprehend. They telling you like that. Okay, people who don't understand what you said, they start off by saying, so what you saying is, that's when you know somebody didn't understand you. When they take everything you said and they about to paraphrase it and make it their own and say some shit that you essentially did not say, that's when you know they couldn't comprehend what you were saying. My response to most people when I understand them, because I'll tell you I don't understand. If I don't, I'll ask for clarity, right? This is all good communication. But if for me, if I'm listening to understand somebody, my response will be something like, I understand what you're saying. If I'm hearing you correctly, and then I'll say what I took from what they said, still not assuming that I completely got it, and then I'll give my analysis or whatever the case may be, whether I agree or disagree, whatever. Deacon said this nation wasn't really designed. Let me post it. Deacon said this nation wasn't really designed for critical thinking. It's a nation of consumers. This nation is like a prostitute. It's supposed to be used and discarded, which is exactly what you're seeing now. Yeah, for sure. This is not a country, it's a corporation. And that's why it's so important bringing it full circle to the code language conversation. That's why it's so important for people to understand the you versus y'all. There's nothing wrong with being tapped out of the matrix, but understanding everything that's going on with the matrix. There's nothing wrong with understanding that you're a shepherd and you know, without a flock, but you know the other shepherd and where they're trying to herd the flock to. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people that are woke, and that's what I mean when I say a shepherd, a person that could be a leader because they're enlightened, that don't have a flock. There's a lot of people who are unwilling to listen. So I don't know. You know what this makes me think about, and I'm gonna move on to the reaction video in a second. We approaching 30 minutes on the code language, but you know what this make me think about? The movie Colombiana, when her uncle sent her to school and she didn't want to go to school. She said she just wanted to learn how to get straight active, and he started letting off the gun in the street, and then he was like, he said He said, "You want to learn how to do this? I can show you that, but you'll be unalive quickly, or whatever the case may be." He said, "Here, you learn how they want you to think, what they want you to know. You learn to understand them, how they want you to move, and this is how you will be able to survive." And this, that, and the third. So essentially, just saying like you need to know the truth, and you need to know what the lie is and why they're trying to lie. Essentially, so it's important to understand the y'all, even though you may be unique. But yeah, that's what I got in closing on the you versus y'all in the code language, man. For sure, for sure. Shout out to everybody passing through. Make sure y'all share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Yes, Lord. Let's move on to the reaction video. Let's do the reaction video, man. Let's see. Yes, Lord. So we got a reaction video. We heading over to 8 at the table. They having a conversation about $500 dates being standard. I haven't watched any of this, so it's gonna be an authentic reaction. But y'all know from the go, I'm not, we not doing that. $500 date for what? And they talking about first dates, I think too, which is diabolical. But let's roll.
You should feel like, damn, maybe I'm out here tripping, asking somebody to spend, I don't know, $500 on a meal for me on a first date. I'm
sorry. When did that start?
I feel like this shit is recent.
Within the past 5 years or within the past 10 years?
I don't know. Y'all younger than us.
What
What y'all say?
10.
Well, all entertainment has played a big role in the ideologies of people. And now that entertainment, at some point, it wasn't accessible to everybody. Entertainment was primarily a luxury. And then eventually it got into the hands of everybody, no matter if they were 14 or 94. And now we do see an influx in the behavior simply because it is accessible to everybody. When did it start is a different question, but when did it become as prevalent? I think it would definitely have to be when ideologies and behaviors and entertainment has been able to share and push it on a wide scale, nation and worldwide.
So when like, if we can pinpoint it, like when would it be? Because I think
2012. 2012 is what
You lying to me. You lying to me. In 2012? In 2012? Man, listen. Around that time, probably a little bit before then, maybe right around that time, I think I had 3 dates on one Valentine's Day weekend. I took all 3 of them to the same Red Lobster and had the same server, and I might have spent $120 the whole for 3 dates. I might have spent $120. Y'all talking about $500 first dates for what? For who? I'm spending $500 to find out whether I do or don't even like you. Nah. Who? I work for my money. Y'all work for, y'all got 100% passive income. Y'all don't work for y'all money. Y'all don't value the dollars that y'all had to work for. You would spend $500 to figure out whether you do or do not like a female. And then if you don't like her, you gonna first date somebody else for another $500. When? Same week? What y'all doing? Y'all have you guys don't have mortgage. You guys don't have mortgage or any type of bills, any adult things going on. 500.
I would say 2012 specifically because I remember that was the time where Instagram was out, but it was being pushed. If you didn't have Instagram by that time, if you didn't have Instagram, you were kind of a loser. But Facebook was cool because Facebook was chill. Twitter was out. People were just talking shit. But then Instagram came where there was only pictures. The only way you can compete with other people's pictures is if you have better pictures or better places, better settings. So eventually, I remember when I first went viral in 2013, it was at a party and I was on stage. And it wasn't even viral, but it was.
All right, while he do his story time, I got a question for y'all, chat. For the few of y'all that's in here, chat. I got a question. what should be the average cost of an entree on a first date? Right now, in 2025, what should be the average cost of an entree on a first date? Y'all answer that for me, chat. We're going to let him tell his story.
It was viral. It was probably like 400 likes, which at that time was hard to get. And it was just that we had sold out the show. We sold out the venue and it was lit. And we had this dope ass picture, me and my homie Quasi and my homie Haas. And I remember at that point in time, we were like, okay, we gotta stay here. And the only thing is you're gonna keep, doubling down on those moments and trying to capture those moments to a point where you had people had Vine. Vine was another big contributor to it too. That's when social media really started taking off, when people started going viral. And then, with that being said, then people started just competing with different types of settings that were
Hold on. We got answers. Hold on. Deacon said $55. The average cost of the entree? 55. Souls of thought? $25 to $30. That's about right for me. 25 average cost of an entree, 55. So that means that's the mean. So what's the cheapest entree they got? And then what's the most expensive one if the average is 55? What's matter of fact, throw out a restaurant, Deacon. What establishment is that? For a $55 average cost an entree, what establishment is that? Because I've never been a fine dining type of guy. I've been to nice restaurants. It was always somebody else's idea. I've never been that type of person because the way my body work is when I eat food, then I shit it out. So I don't understand spending $600 on a meal. That's the way my body work. I don't know about y'all. What's that, Deacon? I never heard of that. It's a one-letter restaurant? That shit must be expensive, gang.
typically inaccessible to others.
I think that Instagram also did a good job of getting, businesses to start pushing content and, promoting themselves. So we had other options. It wasn't just Applebee's, Fridays, Red Lobster. Everybody wants to try that restaurant that they saw on Instagram with the nice pictures and the nice steak, and they got nice drinks.
Yeah, but I'm saying before that, it would have to be that the drug dealers were talking about it in songs. So I'm saying pre-social media.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have to be the drug dealers talking about the places they went in songs, or not even drug dealers, the rappers, or because I don't think R&B's. I don't remember like Soul saying like, "Oh, we were at
Papado."
Yeah.
Typically, when things affect Black people, it's typically the canary in the coal mine for everybody else. So I don't know if
Okay. I see what you mean, Deacon. So he said mostly any non-chain place like Malone's near the airport in Atlanta. That was your first mistake. I'm not eating near no airport. I'm not eating, not for a first date. I said, what's the average cost of an entree for a first date? You said $55. Everybody that dropped in, I'm asking a question while we do this reaction video. What y'all think should be an average cost of an entree on the menu? What should be the average cost on the menu of an entree for a first date? He said 55. Deacon, but you know what, Deacon, though? You ain't been on a first date in a long time, dog. You married. So you coming from a different angle. He said he had me at Atlanta. What you mean, Souls of Thought? What you mean? What you on with Atlanta? Don't do that. Shout out to A-Town. I had good times in Atlanta. I love the gentlemen's spa facilities, the gentlemen's clubs. Yeah, I love it. I love it there. We made the floor disappear in there one time. It was light. Deacon said, he said, I'm eating where I like to eat. Most cheap food is bad for you. So I'm going out. I'm eating good food. I feel that. I eat healthy too. I eat real healthy, especially when I go to restaurants, but it's still not that much for the average cost of an entree. Like, okay, for example, if I go to a place, I don't want to name no brands for the, YouTube, but if I go, there's like a bar restaurant not too far from where I grew up at, and they have a plant-based section of their menu. They have a plant-based section of their menu, which is why I go there, because I like, eating certain things. I like eating healthy. So with that section of the menu, the average cost of an entree is probably like $22, $23 for an entree. in that section of the menu, and that's like the more expensive part of the menu. Then they had the most expensive thing you probably could get on their menu is probably like 70 something for the most expensive thing on their menu. You know what I'm saying? And that food is like healthy, it's fresh, it's good, but it's not 55. It's kind of crazy. And Atlanta cost of living is supposed to be low, so that's kind of wild, especially for a first date too. Like, I'm not overspending to find out if I like or dislike a female. I'm just not. It doesn't make sense financially. Souls of Thought said he had me at Atlanta. Deacon said, are you eating where he like? Souls of Thought said, you know they overcharged there. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, they're trying to run it up. Was in Atlanta this year. It's overpriced just because of who owns it. Oh, just because of who owns what? Oh, yeah. Like the celebrity-owned establishments. It's a lot of clout-based business being done out there too. So you paying for namesake and all that. The service might not even be all that. But see, this is the thing. When I go to the South, that's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, I'm modest. Like, when I go to the South, take me to the Waffle House, because where I'm from ain't no Waffle House. I just want to go to Waffle House. I ain't really tripping. You feel me? Like, let's keep it all the way simple. Like, I don't even all of that what people get caught up in, you know, I'm not into it. Deacon said a decent fresh grouper is about $50 with one side. I make pretty decent money, over 100K, so that's not that much to me, but I'm married, so you're right. I wouldn't even date these days. Yeah. Nah, 50 ain't nothing crazy. Not even for a date price, but for a first date price, I'm not spending that. You see what I'm saying? Not for a first date. That's what I mean. Now, even if we on a third date, the average cost of an entree might be 50, you know, because now I'm starting to feel like I like you. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if that's what I'm doing with Shorty, then that's what we doing. But it's like the first date, I'm damn near trying to do that for free. For real. To see if I like you. I don't even know you. Yeah, I'm damn near trying to get that out the way for free. For sure. And I'm not, and listen, all of the responses that we see online from men saying stuff like that, like, oh, like, just because you don't want to overexert yourself, or not even overexert yourself, you don't want to be financially irresponsible. So you just simply making a smart decision. Hey, to get to know you, I'd rather just meet for breakfast or brunch real quick. You know what I'm saying? Or some coffee real quick. Some tea if you don't drink coffee. And if you don't drink, tea, what you doing? So it's like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to do that for a light price. We mostly both invest in time and energy, not so much resources. When I realize I like you, that's when I'm gonna tap into resources. And we're not even doing too much of that. You know what I'm saying? Because at a point in time, if you not, when you married, it's different. But when you dating, at a point in time, if you overextending on your resources, you kind of getting pimped a little bit. But let's get back into the reaction, man. Let's see what they talking about.
To say you got to explain.
Meaning, it's like the
How do you get in there? What's canary in coal mine?
Canary in the coal mine is like, it's like a sign of something that's going on, and it's like, okay, this is happening. It's like a warning, and we've traditionally been impacted first, and that's, I would say, it's maybe because of where we are economically, where we are in the housing market, things like that. But I don't feel like they know first.
This stuff has always been cultural, though. Whatever's been popping was always the place. Like, I'm from New York. The Tunnel was a popular place in the 90s club. Webster Hall,
Speed,
Roxy, all of these places. Even on a teenager level, like the Skate Key was one of the places that you wanted to go to skate. It's just now, instead of word of mouth or by phone, the places are on social media telling you where to go that's popping, and it promotes it for people like you brought up. So now people want to be at the popping place that's $400 for, a table. So that just made it worse.
And the thing, we are natural competitors, and social media was always used for business, and it's really supposed to be, it still isn't, I would say 80-20 when it comes to business to consumers. Now you do, like he said, mentioned, businesses now utilize social media as opposed to 7, maybe 8, maybe 10 years ago, businesses weren't on social media. You wouldn't have found websites.
That's the thing too about being like woke. You can't market to me. That's part of being a part of the flock. Like, you know how we call people, like, you know how enlightened people will call the majority of thinkers, the group thinkers, we'll call them sheeple, like they sheep. That's part of, like, when you not, that's the thing about not being a part of the flock, right? So, like, okay, you could put all the marketing on social media you want, literally. Like, you can put as much on there as you want. You're not making me buy nothing. You're not. And you're not gonna make me compete with the next man over nothing. I've never in my life, and maybe it's due to my upbringing and the things that was taught to me, I never had keeping up with the Joneses syndrome. I never cared. I'm just literally that type of person. I'm the type of person where y'all wouldn't even know if I was rich or not. Y'all wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know. Same t-shirt, same everything. You wouldn't know. Same car. I don't care about cars. I literally don't care about cars. I don't care. I don't have a dream car, a favorite car, none of that. As long as it's clean and it's new, like up to date, and it's gonna get me to and fro reliably through a 4-season climate, I'm groovy. I ain't really tripping. And it need to have enough space. I need my boxing bag to go in there. I need, you know what I mean, my bike. But other than that, I don't care who made it. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm just not superficial at all. If you could set it on fire, it don't matter that much. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously people can get set on fire, but you, like, I'm talking about material stuff. Like, if this, you know what I mean? If your house go to burn down and all your whole family get out, but like some of your greatest possessions, you can't save them. It's like, you gonna feel unfulfilled without those possessions, or you gonna be so grateful that your whole family got out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been to a lot of countries. I've traveled a lot. So I've seen, like, poverty. Like, American poverty is still kind of luxurious in a lot of places. American poverty is still kind of luxurious. I've seen poverty. So when you see that, you start learning how to be grateful a little different. So, like, when people be talking about, like, the way they spend their money just because they have a lot of money, like, that shit I don't judge nobody for what they do with their bread. If you're able to make bread, go crazy, do your thing. Like, but me personally, I'm just a chill dude. Like, I spend a lot of money on certain shit. Like, when I go on vacation, I'm gonna have all the accommodations that I'm preferential to. Everything that's my preference, I'm gonna have when I go on vacation. But you would never catch me spending $600 on a dinner. You just not. It's not gonna happen. What you say, souls of thought? I tell people that in Kuwait, their poor was poor. Yeah, it's a different type of poor. And, you know, that's when you could tell when you're talking to people who have been well-traveled too. Some people are well-traveled. Some people have traveled just a little bit. Some people are travel a lot domestically, like within the States. But when you leave out the country and you've hit multiple different countries, like I'm up to 23. It's about to be 26 pretty soon, a little later this year when I get back on my feet. But yeah, when you've moved around and you've seen like a different level of poverty, you start just realizing how gluttonous we are on average here in America. So you talk about like to me, whether I have $10 million or $10,000, $500 on one meal still gonna be $500 on one meal, because I know how many people I could feed or help, or even how much I could set up my own future if it's about me, or something I could put some bread into for my future little ones, or anything with $500. $500 is still $500. If $500 was all you had left to try to turn it over and flip it to make your rent or your payroll for your business this month, you stretch the hell out that 500. So 500 always gonna be 500. It's never not 500. It's 500. Your circumstances may make you feel different about that 5, but that 5 is still 5. So when people like burn money and shit like that, that shit hurt my soul. Cause why burn it up? Listen, go in a random restaurant and buy like 10 appetizers and go get them appetizers out to some homeless folks. Like, go, if you want to burn some money, go tithe that shit to the streets. You feel me? So like that 500 on the first date shit, I don't care what you do for a living. It's just, in my opinion, and this, it can't be right or wrong. This is just my opinion. So I'm not saying y'all wrong either. But in my opinion, it's a poor purchase. That's a poor expense. And I don't care how much you get into it. That shit crazy. He said 20 years in the military, I seen the world. So you know exactly what I'm talking about then. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Talking about living in huts, villages of huts. The houses, 10 houses. Yeah. Real favelas. Yeah, all that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm glad you in the chat today, Souls of Thought. Salute.
Mr. Hall on social media in 2012.
Hold on.
But at that point in time, and I just remember from like the journey of an influencer, you know, they were doing so much and getting so much love for relatively nothing. And then it became a big pop. I don't know if it was with YouTube or what, but when you can actually make money by going to places and people started paying you just to come to their event, whatever it may be, then people start to say, well, you know what? I'm already looked at this light. I need to keep that experience or whatever moments that we capture at your event to be equivalent to all the other photos or videos that I already have. Now, anybody else, which everybody became, or everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people now have the desire to be a social media influencer. Because whenever people see, same thing with podcasting, whenever people see something is working, they jump on a bandwagon. But now we're all seeing the truth about it. It's not realistic. A lot of people can't last that long. It costs money. It literally, it's not as easy as people think it is, but they're buying into these lifestyles and they're trying to live a life that they are not built to live. And I hate to say this, but I got to quote Future. Because Future said, you're spending all your show money trying to keep up with my image. Right? So these people are getting different types of, advances or sponsorship dollars.
Hey, chat, is that zesty? When men overextend themselves to try to keep up with an image to compare to other men, is that kind of zesty? Is that like over? Is that an excessive amount of male focus? I think it is. I think it's a little sweet because I give a damn about the next man in comparison to myself. As far as me, I'm doing what I'm doing. And how I stack up against the male population and where I fall amongst my competition of the brotherhood, I know where I'm at. But I ain't waking up every day thinking about whether or not the next man did 50 push-ups when I did 55. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about this dude wearing a shirt that got DG all over it and overextended on a fucking sweater, and I bag his bitch in a white tee all day long. Them designers don't mean shit. It's in you, it ain't on you. I'll be trying to tell y'all, if you got it, you got it. Why you think hobosexuals exist? It's some men that are just innately good with women. Y'all out here buying women, flying women. Y'all out here doing all this shit. And this dude's out here that just know how to talk good. His Jordans ain't even clean. And a bag your bitch. That's what's really going on. Couch surfing. Yep. It's a real thing. He said, yes, sir. They both said they find it to be zesty. Yeah, that shit zesty. You waking up every day, all you thinking about is comparing to the next man. You got too much dude on your brain. It's too much dude on your mind.
And their only thing that they're doing is trying to display that they're as worthy as somebody like him or somebody at his level. And I think that's where we got to this point today, where everybody's doing the most for nothing, ultimately to start back at the bottom again.
So it seems like we have gone on a tangent. I don't know. I think knowing this piece of information, like if this was, I mean, it's been on social media, obviously, but if like the statistics that he gave us, if that is shared like community wide, I would hope that it would like start, it would have people to start thinking about like, what are we doing? And look how we've gotten to where we got so quickly. And then we have to ask ourselves, why are we dating like them? Why are we pushing the provider narrative? Because let's be real, it's both parties. It's male and it's men and women.
I think this is the first time I ever agree with her in my whole life. It is both parties pushing the provider narrative. It's both. You got men out here that's pandering to females by saying, yeah, you know, I'll pay for everything and you should pay for everything. And real men pay for everything. And you got women out here saying you can't get with them if you're not doing this and you're not doing that. All right, that's the first time I ever agree with her because she be saying a lot of shit that's not true. I've even caught her on several occasions just making facts up, just making shit up. Google that shit on the live and it's like, this shit is not true. But she's actually right. It's both parties responsible for that shit because my parents been together 40-something years. 40-something years, still clicking to this day. And both of them have always contributed financially to the household. And it's been windows of time where one wasn't working and the other one was holding everything down, and the other one wasn't working and the other one was holding everything down. I seen both. And the crazy part about it is y'all will say y'all don't want nobody with you if they can't just do everything. But yet the results, ladies and gentlemen, the results. My parents could look back at the end of their lives and be like, we did it the real way. We did it God's way. We got married. We didn't get divorced. We weathered all the storms. We had amazing times. We traveled the world together. We bought houses. We did all this. We did that. And death did us part. They gonna be able to say that. They got the results. All the shit y'all think is uncool to go through and you ain't putting up with and you can't even get a date if you ain't and all this other silly shit is completely unrealistic and it's keeping a whole bunch of people single. Practicality and some modesty. I'm never going to tell y'all to be humble because the definition of humble is damn near synonymous with low self-esteem. But modesty would take y'all a long way. Deacon Chris said it's a manipulation tactic. That's why I'm grateful for feminism. You grateful for feminism? Please elaborate on that. I'll read the whole paragraph. Please elaborate on why you're grateful for feminism. Soul of Thought says that's love, fam. Couples now are looking for the benefit of a partner. Yeah, and you know what you don't hear anymore? You don't really hear people talking about falling in love. You hear a lot of conversations about preferences, qualifications, specifications, prioritizations, you know, all this different shit. You don't really hear people talking about falling in love no more. You really don't. If y'all ever catch me outside somewhere and I'm with a little lady, best believe she like me. She like me. I refuse to deal with a woman that I gotta convince to like me, convince to trust me, convinced to follow me, convinced to believe me. If I got to convince you, you don't want to be under my covering. You don't want to be under my covering. If y'all ever catch me outside with a lady, she like me. For real, too, a lot. Because I ain't dealing with nothing. I'm not dealing with nothing that don't like me like that. Yeah. Listen, dudes don't even be knowing when they dealing with females that don't like them. The minute a female tell you where you can't take her to eat and it's not because she got allergies, she don't like you, gang. She don't. It's true. She don't. I done had female tell me, pick wherever. I'll find something on the menu wherever we go. I ain't even tripping off that. I just want to see you. That's a woman that like you, folks. So these dudes out here overextending themselves and you really playing yourself at the end of the day. Like you think you impressing a woman, but you really just like all that shit you doing, you just giving her, incentivizing her to just spend some time with you for the night. She don't even got who's turning down an evening with a fancy meal, you know, in a fancy place with some nice wine, I'm sure, or whatever drinks y'all drinking. Who turning that down? They're not turning that down if that's what you coming to the table with, gang. They're not turning that down. But it also don't help you identify whether or not this woman like you. Ask her to meet you at the river walk so y'all could just walk and have a conversation and see if she pull up for that. If that's not enough effort for her, she don't like you. Merch it. Deacon Chris said, feminism freed men from the illusion that women are helpless children with breasts and coerced them into being functional adults instead of preying on the nature of men to protect the weak. Okay. I see where you're coming from when you say it freed men of the illusion that women are helpless children with breasts. They're not helpless children with breasts. But in a world where men are uncivilized, they are helpless. Luckily for them, we have decided to be civilized. It's a lot of first world country privilege that goes on with the American women. A lot of first world country privilege. You know what I'm saying? Just talking crazy. You know, it's real radical in some countries now. You get to talking crazy, they'll cut your tongue out your mouth. For real. So it get radical out here. But here in America, they don't gotta be quiet. And they don't stop till they get enough. But yeah, man, I think we can move on from the reaction video though, because they kind of more so talking about at this point, they're kind of more so just talking about why it's gotten to the point where people feel the need to spend the 500. So we kind of get their point. We don't need to watch the whole 30 minutes of that video. But yeah, it's a lot of people that's trying to play the comparison game and keep up with the next person and the next person. You know, women that get my attention are the ones that don't give a damn about that shit, like I don't give a damn about that shit. Genuinely too, not pretending not to give a damn so they can get my attention, but they genuinely don't give a damn. Yeah. I learned from seeing my parents all these years that, like, I learned what a realistic long-term marriage looks like from a family that lives middle class, upper middle class, and just lives within their means. And I've seen the happiness. My family gatherings on the holidays are beautiful. A lot of smiles, a lot of love, a lot of home cooked food, and it's all good. Okay, we got, you know, wood floors in the house instead of marble. Ooh, like we be giving a fuck about shit that ain't shit. It ain't shit. Like it doesn't mean shit. Them family gatherings would be just as awesome in the woods in a cabin on some rickety, crickety floors as they is in the house we be in, as they would be at an upscale Airbnb. It's the people, it's the gathering, it's the love. I think that's what's most important. And I think that's what we've gotten away from when it comes to finding love. People ain't even looking for love. They looking for amenities. I'm telling y'all, it's hotels.com. What do you come with? Is it free breakfast? Is there a fitness center? Is there a hot tub? Is there a hot tub in the suite? You know what I'm saying? What do you come with? Who's still looking for love? Who looking to just find somebody that they like a whole lot, that like them a whole lot back, and we just gonna go from there? We just gonna go from there. Yeah. Who doing that? That shit damn near over with, ain't it? Deacon Chris said it allowed men not to have to commit to a lifetime time of servitude just to have a woman who doesn't really love them. Men have been freed to indulge in the things that they like instead of servitude. I appreciate your perspective on that. I appreciate your perspective. I can see how a great large populace of men would completely be in alignment with that thinking. You said you're absolutely correct. By which part, Deacon? This just popped up. But yeah, this shit get wicked. Let's move into the question of the day, though, y'all. Because we'll end up being on live 2 hours like yesterday. Let's move into the question of the day, y'all. Let's move into it. Let's see what we got. Question of the day. Bang, bang. Is male honesty the new misogyny? Is male honesty the new misogyny? I'm going to say yeah all day. I'll say yes all day. Yeah, if you have to be honest, when it comes to men being honest about, and y'all answer this in the chat again, if y'all agree or disagree, it's perfectly fine. That's why we here. We here to have conversations, share perspectives, learn from each other, gain understanding, and crack the codes. I'm great at agreeing to disagree. So we don't have to see it each other's way. Let's just understand each other's train of thought. That's what it's really about. Let's get more well-rounded. But is male honesty the new misogyny? Can men be honest about things that aren't necessarily comfortable for women to hear without being told they hate all women? That's essentially what this question is summarized into. Can men be honest with women about things that they're uncomfortable hearing without being told that they hate all women? And this question is inspired by a friend of mine that messaged me a long message, just giving an honest breakdown of the live from yesterday. And I was like, wow, because I said a lot of positive stuff yesterday. You know, yesterday we talked about purpose. We talked about, would you take a deal with all your heart's desires in a world without the opposite sex? And I said, hell no. Nah. I even said yesterday, if God made something better than a woman, I don't want it. I literally said that verbatim yesterday. But somehow I still came off like I hate women. And so I have to ask, because I did say a lot of things that were hard for women to listen to too, because I'm just honest. So some things I say are going to be pleasant because the truth feels good in that regard. And some things I say, it's going to rub all us the wrong way. Y'all don't think I'm uncomfortable talking about some of this shit too? But we got to crack these codes, man. Deacon said, yeah, souls of thought. He said, yes, I agree. Deacon said, I'm going to say no. Okay, elaborate. Holla at me. Holla at me. Tell me why you think it's no. Souls of thought says yes. I believe it is to some degree. Can I say it is in totality? Nah. But in regards to certain things, yeah. Yeah. For everybody that's tapping into the conversation, we on the question of the day right now. Y'all let me know if y'all agree or disagree in the chat. But is male honesty the new misogyny? And I'm gonna look up the actual book definition of misogyny for y'all while Deacon type up the reason why he says it's not. But I'm inclined to believe it is. Let me see. Dislike, misogyny, dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. So the actual book definition is dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. That's the actual definition of the word. So Souls of Thought says, after you reward it, I have to say, after you reword it, I have to say no. Not all women don't want honesty. Can they handle honesty? Deacon Chris, I'm saying no. I'm saying no because what we say is really a form of love. We're telling them what they need to hear to protect them. Their interpretation isn't really our responsibility. Our job is to tell the truth. Right. So the question, okay, so I actually agree with what you just broke down. I'm saying no because what we are saying is really a form of love. I totally agree. I do not get on my platform and tell the truth about what's going on outside the way that I do to tear women down. It's actually from a position of feeling sick to my stomach about the fact that it's actually true and the desire to want that shit to change, because ain't nothing greater than seeing a big ass black family outside smiling and frolicking and shit. Ain't nothing better than that. But them days is getting, you see what I'm saying? We got to do something, y'all. So he said, we're telling them what they need to hear to protect them. Their interpretation isn't really our responsibility. Our job is to tell the truth. But here's the issue though, bro. And that's why I posed the question. Is male honesty the new misogyny? Because their interpretation is often that you hate women. You tell the truth with pure intentions. And though it's hard to hear, your intentions are still pure. But because it's hard to hear, they interpret your intentions as evil. They say you're a misogynist. And that what you're saying is untrue. Even though the statistics and the data and the numbers back up that a lot of this shit is true. Like, okay, for example, I'm gonna give y'all a perfect example. We be like, black women like the same niggas. Like all y'all like the same 5 different types of dudes. All of y'all going for the same 3 or 2 or 4% of dudes. And they like, no, I don't think that's true. I don't believe that's true. I don't feel that's true. Well, the numbers came out. Black women have 1 million more kids than black men. And black women date outside of their ethnicity the least out of everybody in the country. So out of these millions, or out of this a little bit over 1 million more children, the small percentage of them is because y'all decided to date non-black men. The reason why black women have 1 million more babies than black men is because a lot of black women be getting pregnant by the same dude. A lot of dudes that's baby daddies is like habitual baby mama makers. They be having 2 baby mamas, 3 baby mamas. Can I get 4 baby mamas? 4. Do I have 5? Do I have 6? 6 baby mamas. Do I have 7? 7 in the hood over here. 7 in the hood over here. 7 baby mamas. These niggas be having hella kids by hella women. So when we say all y'all like the same, most of y'all like the same niggas, it can be statistically proven to be a true generalization. But instead of accepting it as true, even with the statistics, you'll look at a man and be like, why you hate us? What are we doing? Are we moving towards resolution? Is this a therapy session to go to discuss your feelings about reality? Is this a situation where I should play delusional with you? What the fuck are we doing at that point? When we have something that we can prove to be factually true, a true generalization, and you will push back on reality. That's nasty work. What are we doing? We peddling in the mud. It's quicksand at that point. All right, let me catch up on these comments. My dog Deacon says, we know the predatory nature of men and how men will take advantage of their delusion and damage them further. If we really hated them, we'd tell them what they wanted to hear, but we love them. That is fucking true. If we really hated them, we know all the lot. We know what you want to hear. If we didn't like y'all, we'd tell y'all exactly what y'all want to hear. Let y'all, and y'all be knowing that the dudes that's deceiving y'all are deceiving y'all, but because you like them and you physically attracted to him and he give you that little feeling in your pelvis, y'all lie to yourselves until y'all tired of lying to yourselves. And then tell us how fucked up of a dude he was when y'all break up. But you knew the whole time. You was lying to yourself because you had that feeling in your pelvis. It's the same reason why they be popping the balloon on these dudes that got all these great qualifications and credentials. They be like, well, he didn't say anything wrong. I liked everything about him. He's tall. I like his complexion. I just don't feel that. And that feeling that is what make them disregard the niggas who don't have the checklist. They have nothing on the checklist, but they make you feel that. And that'll make them lie to. That's enough to make them lie to themselves. So yeah, if we hated them, we'd tell them everything they want to hear. Let them buy into the delusion that they know we giving them anyway, and then dog them the fuck out. That's what we would do if we didn't like y'all. But because we do, we come on here and have a real conversation, hoping to make progress. Deacon also said, we don't have the power to shape their perception. We can only deliver the truth. That's the essence of the free will, isn't it? Yes, it is, sir. But the ability to be logical sometimes gets overridden by this powerful chemical called estrogen. Deacon Chris says, if interpretation is our responsibility, then we inadvertently take away their agency to choose to believe or not, which is a form of hate, which is misogynistic, right? Boy, you cooking with hot grease, man. Got to have you on the platform one day. You cooking with hot grease. I can't disagree with you. You on the road. Souls of Thought says, I think we can shape their perception. Oh, we got a disagreement. Elaborate, Souls of Thought, because Deacon says something totally different. Souls of Thought says, I feel that's why we are in the times we are in now. Shit, I don't know about that, dog, because if we could shape their perception, wouldn't it be a lot more dudes staying out of divorce court? Because niggas is getting took to the cleaners every day, cuz. But is male honesty the new misogyny? I gotta say in a lot of ways it is, dog. It's dudes that's got whole platforms that are getting called red pill for all the wrong reasons. They done redefined red pill, because red pill just means you're enlightened, and that could be applied to all different facets of life. You could be red pill to some new financial information. You could be red pill to, you know, speaking, you know, 5 different languages. You could be, it's about being enlightened to the truth and the reality of things. But they done turned it into like some male ego, macho, machismo type of lingo that's going on YouTube, which is crazy. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. Y'all disagree. One of y'all says we can't shape their perception. One of y'all says we can. Me personally, I'm not interested in like shaping anybody's perception. I think that again, this goes back to the, see how I should be tying in. This goes back to the code language conversation at the beginning of the live, the you versus y'all conversation, right? On a personal level, I just need one to fuck with me being myself, and we can rock out. If I can get 2 or 3, even better, because I'm with all that sister wife shit in a real way, but for the right reasons and for the real reasons, not on no freaky shit. Because a lot of people just think straight freaky when they think about that. But I just need one though to just fuck with me how I am, and I'm cool. But now on a broad level though, the mass perception is crazy, and the problem is the mass perception is mostly shaped by media. That's the struggle y'all gonna have on a mass level. That's the struggle, that the perception is mostly shaped by media. So it's just like how your granny will believe the news before she believe you. Souls of Thought says, he said it's the same guys that are shaping them. It's hard to type the full understanding. I'm driving. Got you. Man, y'all let me know if y'all want me to drop the link, man. I'll bring one of y'all up on the conversation. It's done by default. I feel that. Don't text too much if you're driving, bro. I understand. Be safe out there. But yeah, man. I don't know if the truth is, you know, sometimes it's like they say tell you the truth, and then until they hear what the truth is, and then it's like, damn, you should have lied. You should have lied. If we shape their perception, then we take away choice, which is hatred. That's the same as propaganda. Okay. I don't think he's saying that we do shape their perception. I think he's saying that we can. Is that what you're saying? I think Souls of Thought said we can. Let me go back up to his comment. Did he say we do, or did he say we can? He said, I think we can. I don't think he said we do though. But I don't know. I just know, in regards to the question of the day, I just know that we can't necessarily be honest and expect for this shit to go well all the time. It's not really going like that. You can get tagged with a lot of different labels by some women that's just not cool with what you saying. I don't care how true. I don't care how much you can prove it to be true. If they just not cool with what you saying, they gonna hit your ass with some labels. They'll put shaming at the end of anything. They ask you what your preference is. You say a fit, feminine, physical woman. They say, oh, you fat shaming. If they ask you, oh, why you pop her balloon? She bigger than I like them. Oh, you fat shaming. It's like, if you would have shamed yourself, you probably would have fixed that already. But I just think being tough need to make a comeback. Being tough needs to make a comeback. Being taught the phrase, you need to have thick skin, needs to make a comeback. And we need to get back into spaces where we can have real conversations again. Because we got codes that we got to crack. The black family going extinct. Y'all keep playing. In about 20 years, everybody going to look like Steph Curry. So y'all better pay attention or don't. Now it's time to open up the line for questions, man. Anybody want to drop a question in the chat? I'll give y'all 5 minutes. Man. We done went over the hour marker, which is a good thing. We starting to get more participation in the live. Shout out to Deacon Chris. Shout out to Souls of Thought. I'm sure Joe Jet probably slid through the chat. I don't know if he could type in today. 333 to everybody that just pulled up. But what questions y'all got for me? I'll answer anything. Drop a question in the chat. I'll post it and answer it. Deacon, you came with a good question yesterday, bro. I actually was able to make an extra piece of content off of that. I appreciate that question, bro. I'm finna post that later today. But yeah, man. He said they use labels to hide the pain receptors or the pain of the rejection. Yeah. Everybody been rejected though. You know, that's the thing about shame too, is that everybody feels shame sometimes. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but everybody feels shame sometimes. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. So essentially what I'm saying is anything that you're experiencing that's making you feel shameful, you're not experiencing anything that anybody hasn't experienced before. I'm taking questions right now, y'all. I'm finna hop off live if y'all don't have ask me anything too. It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got 5 minutes with me. And you know, if the question carry us out, I got time. It's just, you know, I could be doing other content. I covered all of the bases for the day. But yeah, I feel like, you know, nothing that anybody is going through is anything that's unique to just them. So no matter what issue that you having, you know, there's a populace of other people who have been through it, are going through it, or are going to go through it. So technically, like, nobody should ever be ashamed. You're not alone. No matter what it is, you're not alone. But sometimes we feel like, you know, I think more so shame roots in embarrassment. You know, sometimes people feel embarrassed and the embarrassed breeds shame. But I think shame is a tool, to be honest with you. I think shaming should be used strategically, for sure. I think shaming should be used strategically. I think bullying is a great social, like bullies. I think they're great for society because bullies exist in everything that you're ever going to do. So if you tell kids, oh, no bullying in elementary school, no bullying in high school, ooh, when they get into the professional world, oh my God, are they going to be in for a rude awakening? We got a question. Deacon says, why are women so afraid to be genuinely loved by men? It's loaded, because for me to answer it, I'd have to agree with you that women are afraid to be genuinely loved by men. So let me think about that first. Do I think women are afraid to be sold a thought? I'm gonna get to your question too. Like I said, I'm not in a hurry. So if y'all here, we here. Deacon says, why are women so afraid to be genuinely loved by men? Let me see. Do I think women are afraid to be genuinely loved by men? I don't know if I agree with the first part, bro. I don't think that women nowadays are afraid to be genuinely loved by men. I think that a lot of women don't know what a man's love looks like. We express our love in a lot of different ways, depending on the man that we are. And sometimes I think women don't know how to identify a man's love. When a man takes a woman under his covering, meaning this, if you're dating somebody serious, let's just use it in today's terms. We don't even have to be strict to everybody doing everything by the book. We know that's not realistic. If somebody's been dating long term and a man has a place and a woman has a place, and he says, hey, come move into my place. Or let's say he moves into her place, but he takes over the rent payment or the mortgage payment, whatever the case may be. He's putting her under his covering. Financially, he's covering the large bills, right? And then he also is putting her under his covering of protection, right? Somebody kicking this door, you stay back here, I'm gonna go check it out. We hear a noise, I'm gonna go check it out. Flat tire, I'm on the way. Or I got the AAA on the way, or whatever the case may be. So when a man takes a woman under his covering, simply put, that's him expressing love, because at that point, he becomes responsible for her. So everything that he's getting up and doing every single day is not for him. It is for the y'all. It's for you, him, and whatever children y'all make or whatever children are in the situation. That is a man's love at a fundamental level. So I don't know that I feel like women are afraid to genuinely be loved by men. I think they have a Disney or a fairy tale idea of what love being presented to them by a man looks like. And again, because I come from a loving, warm family, I know what realistic love looks like. You know what I'm saying? And it's not niggas walking in the house with random gifts weekly and shit. That shit ain't about nothing. Because all them people that's buying each other, that shit don't never end. That never ends. That's like chasing a high. Just like, okay, let me nuance this real quick. Souls of thought, I promise I'm coming to your question. Anybody else got questions? Pile them up in the chat. But let me nuance this real quick. When people ask what's your love language, women who got gifts and they top 1 or 2, that's a red flag to me. That's a red flag to me. That's like chasing a high. You can't fulfill that, gang. You're gonna be buying forever. And then at what point are we hoarders? Because where are we putting all this shit at? At what point are we hoarders? Like I told y'all, I'm just a modest dude. So I'm attracted to women that match me. I would never be with a woman that's like super superficial and shit. She need to have 30 purses and got 2 arms. Fuck 4. Like, I'm not gluttonous. I'm not none of that. So that shit get weird to me. But yeah, man. Solar Thought. Let's go to the next question. Solar Thought says, when we starting the live panel? Oh shit, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Y'all email me or follow me on Instagram and DM me for sure. My email is theclassiccodes777@gmail.com, or follow me on IG at theclassiccodes and just DM me. We could put that together sooner than later. I told y'all, I don't know if y'all saw my content on my life-changing injury, but that's not a video that's about the past. That's about the present. I'm currently recovering from a patellar tendon tear. So I'm off my feet, y'all. So I can go live mostly whenever, and we can figure out the scheduling or whatever. We can get some shit going. I like y'all lines of conversation and it's nuance. We don't agree about everything. So I think we'll have some good conversation for sure. For sure. Then he dropped another question. Do you think there's a timeline on dating? When should you move both parties? Yeah. I think you should be intentional. I think understanding each other spiritually is important too. Everybody doesn't believe in getting married on paper. So if that's important to the woman and the man not on that, they should have that conversation early. Don't waste each other's time. If the man on that and the woman not on that, they should have that conversation early. Don't waste each other's time. But as far as like timeline on dating, I believe in moving at like a strategic pace, like a nice, comfortable pace that you can feel confident in. I believe the man should set the pace and the tempo when it comes to dating. I can't say a timeline definitively as far as months and shit like that, but I do know the older you are out here still dating, the longer it takes to get to know somebody for real. If you meet somebody at 21, it takes less time to get to know them as a person as you do meeting somebody at 34 and y'all been around on earth much longer, much more experiences, much more things that have changed you and molded you in a lot of different ways, different phases you've been through in your life. It's just a lot more to learn. And so with that being said, if you really want to know who you dealing with and what you getting, you got to really take your time and vet, not interrogate or overly ask questions, but just be around people in different situations. I need to see what it's like being around your family on a holiday. You know what I'm saying? If we start talking, in March, the major holidays is a little ways away. So when that first Thanksgiving or that first Christmas come around, I'm trying to see what that look like. You know what I'm saying? Is all your cousins hoes? Is your best friend that's popping by the crib to grab some sweet potato pie? Is she a thought? Because I'm gonna judge you by your circle too, for sure. That's not an illogical thing to do. But again, here on the Classic Codes, I ain't here to make nobody comfortable. It's not illogical. If your friends is hoes, if your cousins is hoes, I'm looking at you wondering what you've been into before you got to me, for sure. And it mattered to me too. So, but as far as timeline, I just think people should move at a moderate pace to where they could really, literally get to know each other for real. That's all. I can't really say a definitive like months though. I would say before you talking about like marrying something though, give it a year. I'll say that. I wouldn't do nothing under 12 months. I want to see you through all 4 seasons right quick. He said, good point. Yeah. Yep. I need to see you through all 4 seasons right quick. I need to see what's going on. And I need you to see me. Because I'm not like anybody. So, I don't see the world the same as anybody. I got a lot of different like vantage points and viewpoints. And then on top of that, I'm a real truth seeker. So when people get uncomfortable with dealing with new information or dealing with things that they finding out that are not actually a part of their reality that they taught was, whatever the case may be, when I'm cracking codes, I can't be around a woman who's not conscious, somebody who's going to be resistant to the fact that we find an information that is dispelling something that we once upon a time believed in. And that's whatever it is. It could be a new math, new science, new new geographical discoveries. You know, it's a lot of conversation about what's on the other side of the ice wall going on. It's a lot of conversations about whether or not the earth is flat or actual space exploration. You know, these are things that as a child I got called, weird. I got called eclectic, which was like a nice way of grown folks calling you weird, and shit like that. Just like when I told, grown folks that I seen a UFO when I was a little kid, and they all brushed me off like you just a little kid. It was probably just an airplane, blah, blah, blah. But then fast forward all these years and the government come out and tell y'all ass it's been UFOs flying around this bitch. And we just letting y'all know that that's what y'all was seeing. Y'all wasn't tweaking. So now all the people that's been called all these years, little kids all the way up to grown-ups, y'all got to eat crow on that. Y'all got to eat crow on that. So I never been the type of person that waited for somebody else to validate what I could see with my own eyes. I never been that type of person. That's how I know I'm not a sheep. I'm a shepherd. I don't need you to validate what I'm looking at. I see it. I can assess it for myself. I'm not an Adam ass nigga. Eve examined the fruit, saw that the fruit was good to her, thought it was nutritious and everything, and still decided to bite the fruit, even though she knew she wasn't supposed to. When she handed that fruit to Adam, he did the same. I'm not an Adam ass nigga. That's not me. I'm not following behind her bad decision making, and I'm not examining the fruit for myself and making a poor decision of my own. We're not gonna do that. I'm gonna believe what I can see. I know this ain't right. I'm looking at it. You feel me? And I think a lot of when you're that honest about all types of shit in all facets of life, it makes it hard to be with a modern woman because delusion has become so acceptable that reality is frowned upon. I'm gonna say that one more time for y'all because that's some home cooking. Delusion has become so acceptable that reality is now frowned upon. So if you're a person walking around trying to have real conversations, talk about the truth, learn things about, because guess what, y'all? Guess what? In 2025, you know what we actually learning? That they lied to us, starting with everything. That's what we're learning. They lied to us, starting with everything. Souls of thought. You said you was in the military, right? So you been knew they lied to us, starting with everything. People be like, what they lied to us about? Pick something. The food, God, automobiles, gasoline being a necessity. Man, we could have been having cars running on salt water, but the people that keep reinventing the technology keep going missing. Do your own research. I'm not going to do your homework for you, and you can't copy off my cheat sheet. You can't copy off my test. Go do your own research. Souls of thought. Tell me I'm tweaking, bro. Tell me I'm tweaking, bro. They lied to us starting with everything. They told y'all last they went to outer space. Nothing about it looked real, but we are so gullible as a population. That's why I say we, right? Because I'm still a part of the population, even if I'm an exception to the rule. We are gullible by and large. That's just what it is. So until we get, somebody who don't understand that, it'll be difficult for them to fuck with me long term. I'm gonna throw them off or get on their nerves at some point. Yeah. So what other questions y'all got, man? We approaching the hour 30 mark. Deacon said you're correct. Yup. Souls of Thought said, yes, sir. Behold the pole horse. I'm gonna buy the book today. Can you give me that author if you got it, bro? So I don't buy the wrong one. Sometimes books be having duplicate titles. And he said, you're correct. Yeah. They lied to us starting with everything. And the people that listen, I get that people comfortable because we was taught whatever when we was born and we was raised in certain thought processes. And then we went to the public indoctrination system with that they call the school. And so we comfortable in what we already thought was true. We just already comfortable. They told us this was true. We bought into the shit. We've been doing it this long. Why the fuck here you come telling me the actual truth and shit? Didn't nobody ask you? That's how people be feeling. But you're gonna learn when the shit hit the fan, because it ain't no if. You'll learn when it hit the fan that you should have heightened your senses a lot sooner, because them the people that's gonna thrive when this shit get real. Believe that. Them billionaires ain't running around building bunkers for nothing. But again, they teach you to be able to see something and question what you could see. And then they teach you to believe with your whole heart in some shit you would never see with your eyes. Gotcha. That's propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. That's propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. Working like an algorithm. Yeah, gotcha. No more questions at this time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 second. I'll wait for you, Solar Thought. Like I say, I got time. Yeah, man. This shit get deep when you really think about it. And that's why I'm so grateful for this time allotted to be able to tap into my content creation like full time right now while I'm rehabbing this injury and shit and really go crazy. Because when I get back to the grind, you know what I mean? It's still gonna be consistent, but y'all not gonna be getting like 6, 7, 8 videos a day and shit like that. Realistically, y'all will get one good ass live, and then it on to tomorrow type shit. But yeah, but I'm grateful for this time because I could really, spread my perspective with y'all. And it's sometimes I give my perspective, not expecting to be fully agreed with, but to trigger something in you to start looking at some shit that you only looked at one way your whole life, to start looking at that shit from 3 or 4 different lenses. Because when you start looking at that shit from different angles, you be like, I might have been tweaking. And that's what it make you want to investigate your thought process. And nothing wrong with that, because then you find out if it's solid or not. You fortified at that point. Because you might have been right all along too, but you might have been tweaking. Don't you want to know? So that's what this channel is about. William Cooper, got you. Thank you for that author. William Cooper, bet. Behold the pole horse, William Cooper, tenfold. Matter of fact, I'm finna write that shit down. Hold on. Behold the pole horse, William Cooper. Got to. Yes, Lord. But yeah, man, if it ain't no more other questions for me, man, y'all got to make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all drop some comments. Make sure y'all tap into all the other content I got. I got hella videos up. A lot of this shit is entertainment. But if y'all really want to tap into like some consciousness, look at my code language videos. Them the ones. To me, them get the least views. Obviously, the entertaining stuff get all the views. But if y'all really want to tap into something, look at my code language videos. Those are the ones, man. But I appreciate y'all for sure. What'd you say? Research him too. He came up missing. Okay. Look up William Cooper. He came up missing. Okay. And then he said, my mind shifted at 25 when I started reading. Yeah. You got to read. The truth been in the movies, but picking up them books will take you to a whole different level. That's for sure. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all be good. If y'all don't do nothing else, make sure y'all stick to the codes. We got another classic on our hands.
Classic codes, I ain't taking it slow. Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that mode. Weathered the winters when left in the cold.